Hey guys, it's Carla. Today I'm working on a canvas panel with acrylic paint. I've got white, deep yellow, permanent red, phthalo blue, and burnt umber. And I've already got my canvas painted red, just a watered down red, and I've got my outline drawn on. So I'm going to start with my synthetic angle brush. And I think I'll go ahead and get him filled in. And I'm not using black, so I'm going to make some black with this brown and blue. So I'm just using the tip of the angle brush to kind of fill this in. This is a this is from an image that one of my viewers sent me, and I'm just kind of changing it up a little bit just to make it more artistic. But it's a black bear that she took a picture of, so I'm filling most of this in with black, or this black that I made anyway. And because it's a very dark, the bear is very dark, but my light is going to be coming from over here, so it's kind of going to be lit up here on the side. But for now, I just want to get this dark part in. And you can look at your reference photo and see which parts are dark and which are highlighted. And you can use a smaller brush if you want. I like using this angle brush. Right, now I'm gonna lighten this up a little bit and just kind of slowly go into my lighter area. And the reason for the blue is because blue makes a really good highlight color for black. You can keep that in mind with any painting. Blue is just, there's a lot of blue in black, and when the light hits it, it really shows up. Blue is a funny color because it makes a good highlight color for black, but it makes a good shadow color for lighter colors. So anywhere that I want this, a little highlight hitting it, I'm just going to tap in this blue. I have my muzzle here a little bit lighter. There's just some places where I feel like the light would be hitting it. You might do yours differently. Again, just look at your reference photo while you're doing this and kind of see where your shadows are. Okay, I'm going to have to come back to that because it's too wet right now to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my, I think I'll go ahead and move on to my trees. So I can still use this dark color, but I want to add some yellow to it, green it up a little bit. Okay, so I want there to be kind of almost a canopy around him so that it kind of draws the eye toward the bear. So I'm going to have a tree on this side and a tree on this side, and they're kind of going to hang out almost over him, I guess. So I just want to very loosely scumble in a tree on this side. And I want it to be really dark at first because I'll be coming back and putting highlights on it. But I need that dark shadow color underneath. And when I come and put my sky in, I can always come back and change the shape of the tree if I want to. All right, so now I'm going to have one over here. Maybe it's not quite as big. That'll work. Okay, now let me go ahead and do the water. So this is I'm going to say it's a river, maybe, and he's standing in it. I don't want it to be too bright, but tone it down a little bit with some brown. So over here I can make holes in the trees where you kind of see the water through it. Okay. Now, on this edge of the water, you're not going to see the bank because you're just seeing this ground and then the water. But on this side, you're going to see this bank. You're going to see kind of how deep the water is, or let's see, maybe just brown for now. So I can make this bank as high as I want it. Maybe just a little white to highlight it. Okay, now what I want to keep in mind with my bear, since he's my focal point, I want to keep in mind that behind him, I need to keep the values right so that he'll show up good. So like he's dark back here, so I would want a lighter background, but he's light right here, so I want something dark here. So maybe like maybe a patch of grass right back here, dark grass, just so that he'll stand out. Let's try that. And maybe it's just like a patch of weeds. We'll deal with that later. Okay, so now I want to put my ground in back here. I'll use that same green, but add some yellow and white to it. So again, right here, I can make little holes in the tree through the leaves and branches. And maybe this will be a little bit lighter. Okay, it's starting to come together. And now I need a sky. And I want my sky to be lighter than the water, so I'm going to add some white to it. Maybe even just a little touch of red. Make kind of a lavender. I've said it before, by doing this negative painting where you paint around things instead of starting at the back and painting forward, you almost start at the foreground and paint back. And by doing that, you're able to keep everything loose and almost misshapen, I guess. And that's just an artistic way to paint. Let's see if I can lighten it up toward the horizon. I'll have to come back and do that after it dries some. And actually, maybe toward the top I can darken it. Ooh, not that much. All right. Now I'm going to go back to my weed area back here. I want to make sure it's nice and dark around his head. And then, see if that's dry enough, yeah. I'm just going to use the tip of my brush to kind of bring up some weeds back here. Okay, so I'm going to switch to my small round brush and go ahead and put in more detail in the bear. And see, if I didn't have that dark area back there, then this wouldn't show up good. So you gotta have that dark. Now I'm going to try not to cover up all my little red specks because I like those, but on him I'm going to put in a little bit more of the dark. I just want to make sure that he's well defined. Okay. Still need that brush. I need to draw his eyes a little better. And his nose. I don't usually get real detailed, but on people and animals, you kind of gotta just make sure it looks right. It's a little too dark. So I'm using the background right now to kind of reshape his neck right here. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my big brush and work on my water. So right here, maybe he's splashing around, causing some movement in the water. Again, I'm just using the tip of my brush to go right against the bank. Okay. Maybe with that light green, I'll go right against the top of the bank here and indicate some maybe grass hanging over, or maybe I don't even know what it is, and the viewer can decide. Maybe it's moss, maybe it's whatever. And you know, I said my light was coming from over here, so I'm going to start highlighting some of what I think might be lighter. I notice I'm being kind of choppy about it because the ground is not, you know, you're always going to see shadows and highlights. It's not going to all be one solid shade. So the same thing would happen down here, just different shades of green. Let's see, maybe there's weeds on this side. Let's do that. Start with some really dark ones and then do different shades. So need it to be thin. And when you're making weeds, make sure you don't have them all going the same direction. So that side of the river has been maintained, not so much on this side. Again, keep your paint thin because if you don't, your grass is not going to behave the way you want it to. I'm just constantly changing the shade of green that I'm using. And obviously you can keep on with this as much as you want. You can make it as full as you want or just whatever. I think I'm gonna stop though because this is a video and I don't want to make it too long. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my trees because I need to highlight them. So I've got that dark color on there. I'm going to move on to a lighter shade. All right, I got to keep in mind where my light's coming from. So it's coming from back here, so you're going to kind of see almost almost an outline around some of these gaps. You always got to keep in mind what's in the background and what's in the foreground, because you don't want things to, you know, blend together. So I don't want to use this shade of green right here on for my highlights, because it won't show up. If you want to tone down your highlights, just come back with a darker shade. Okay, now I want to make the light look believable, so I want to make it brighter back here. And now that that sky is dry, I can put yellow on it without it turning green. But I want it to be a very pale yellow. So we're going to say this is maybe a sunset. I'm just using a damp brush right here to fade this off. Okay. Okay, so now I've got the bright light back there. So I need to determine where my shadows are going to be. So I'm going to put some really dark red in here. Because this is the shaded side of those weeds. And then okay, so now I'm going to put in some cast shadows. So if my light's coming from over here, my shadows are going to kind of be cast in this direction. So all I'm doing right here is scumbling in a cast shadow for these weeds. And I need to cast shadow for my, even though he's in the water, he's still going to cast a shadow. So I'm using the tip of my brush to just brush in a little, this dark purple shade, which makes a good shadow color. So again, I want to make sure I keep the angles going this way. And I want to make sure that I keep my brush strokes horizontal, because this is water, so water is level. Okay, so notice that the shadow for the bear is not the shape of the bear. I mean, it's close, but it's not the shape, the exact shape of the bear, because it's a shadow and it's in water. And it's kind of a reflection and shadow at the same time. But you don't want to make like an exact duplicate of the bear, because it's just movement. What else would be? Oh, the bank would have a reflection here. Reflection and shadow, I guess. Again, the brush strokes need to be horizontal because it's water. Be really dark right up here under those little hangy downs. And when you've got more time, you might get more, either more detailed with it or find other things that it needs. But like I said, I don't want the video to be too long. But it's also hard to stop, so. Okay, now the last thing, I'm going back to my little round brush, and I'm just going to put a little bit more detail on the bear. I just want to make sure that he shows up good. So one thing I can do right here is take some watered down pale blue, just to make him show up better. Maybe lighten the water back here, like between those legs. Maybe back here. But again, you gotta keep your brush strokes level. And not level with this bank, level with the bottom of your canvas. That kind of helps him to stand out more. Maybe I can highlight this leg back here. Oh yeah, that helps a lot. Okay, so is there anything else that needs shaded? Actually, one thing I do want to do, back here where the sky meets the ground, I want to make it kind of less obvious, like not such a hard line right there. So I can come back and with a mixture of this color and this color, with that mixture on my brush, I can come back and kind of almost blur out that hard edge right there. And you can see that it's making a difference. If you look right here, I've got that blurred out, and it's just too hard for me. It's too hard of a line. Again, it's something you can work on more when you've got more time, but I really do need to stop. So hope y'all enjoyed this one and give it a try, and until next time, God bless you.